Alright then guys, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, then please do me a favor. Click the like button, subscribe, and leave your comments in the section below. So before we talk about Dana White, Turki Alalshikh, TKO, and the new boxing league, let's have a look at one or two boxing headlines, because I think there's a few things we can talk about. So we've got here, what do we have here? Dimitri Bivol versus David Benavidez, deal close. That's interesting. Do you know what? I've spoken to a lot of boxing fans after Bivol versus Beterbiev too, and everyone or almost everyone is really excited to see the third fight. Sorry, the trilogy. So I don't know anyone that's calling for Bivol versus Benavidez. It is a good fight, don't get me wrong. Really good. Bivol, incredible fighter. For me, he won the first and second fight versus Beterbiev, but it's 1-1. Benavidez, incredible fighter. Very good CV. So I think it's a very, very good fight. But I've really, not seen so many people, calling for this fight, I'll be honest. Because I thought that, Turki Alalshikh will definitely go and make the Bivol versus Beterbiev trilogy, because I feel like that is what everyone's talking about. Because it is 1-1. Beterbiev won the first fight. Bivol won the second fight. Having a third fight would have been the right thing to do, right? Because I think both styles gel really well. Both fighters are incredible. Both, deserve a lot of respect. And, going into a third fight would have been really good for boxing and really for the division, to see maybe a second, undisputed champion in the four belt era within the light heavyweight division. So that would have been, really, really good to see. Benavidez fight is not bad either. If they can't make the, Beterbiev fight, then I think, Benavidez fight is also, acceptable, I guess. There's not much that us boxing fans can do if the right fights are not being made at the right time. You have to accept what you get, I guess. What's this one here? So this one is a question. It says, so how many pay-per-view buys will the Canelo and Crawford fight generate? Now, look, first of all, I have said that this fight is somewhat a mismatch, because I think Canelo is so much bigger than Crawford. Crawford is moving so many weight classes that it is only so much that a fighter can go through the weight classes and not get absolutely damaged. I don't mean it's a mismatch because Canelo is a better fighter than Crawford. No. I think Crawford probably is a better boxer than Canelo. But Canelo hits harder. Canelo is bigger, at any weight that they're going to fight. Because Canelo is definitely not going to come all the way down to a weight that favors Crawford. Crawford would have to move up. And I've always felt that this fight is a disaster. Because although Crawford is an incredible fighter, an absolutely amazing fighter, one of the best fighters, in his weight class of this generation, Canelo is also up there, one of the best fighters, across many, weight classes of this generation. I think it's just a mismatch because Canelo is way too big, hits too hard, and there's a weight division, there's a weight limit in boxing for a reason. And I don't think this fight is paying respect to weight divisions. However, it is a massive fight. Like in the US, these two guys getting it on is a massive fight. I mean, people can see that as Mexico versus the United States. And, it's just going to be massive. Canelo, a massive star in the US and across Mexico. Crawford, a big star in his own right in the US. Both coming together with a massive promotion. I think it's going to be massive. In terms of pay-per-view buys, I think this is a fight that definitely probably makes the 2 million pay-per-views. I think it will. I think it will sell 2 million pay-per-views, and also it will do a very good gate, purchase as well. Gate receive. So, look, it is a good fight. It is a big fight, but as I always say, it is a dangerous fight for Crawford. However, if it's on, we're going to tune in because this is what we want to see. We want to see the best fight the best. But for me, the best fight the best in the weight division rather than, jumping too many weight divisions and meeting someone that, you can't crack. And then, sometimes that is detrimental to fighters' career. But that's just me. You guys let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. Now, let's go straight into it. Turki Alalshikh and Dana White teams together to basically create a boxing league, right? Something that is meant to revolutionize boxing, right? Really interesting. It's been the topic of boxing for the past, few days. And before I wanted to come here to share my opinion about this, I wanted to take the time to really look at things and read the comments and read some articles and really listen to people in boxing, right? People in and around boxing talk about this league thing that, Turkey is excited for Dana White to implement in boxing. Look, first of all, I might say this. Boxing needs to change. Like, boxing has so much work to do because the judging sometimes is absolutely disgraceful, guys. Like, the refereeing in boxing sometimes is just mind-boggling. Like, the decisions that are made in boxing is just ridiculous for a sport that has grown so much over the years, that we love so much, and there's so much eyeballs on the sport. The decision and just some of the things that happen in boxing are so unfair and it's so bad. And I've always maintained the idea that boxing needs to have like an overall, body, just like FIFA to football or soccer, as you guys call it in the US, right? Boxing needs an overall body that everyone reports into. So the promoters, the sanctioning bodies, the commission, all of them report into this body, and this body makes the rules and reinforces the rules in boxing. Like, boxing needs something like that. For all these, inequalities or, inequities or whatever you want to call it, injustices that happen in boxing, decisions, all these things that go on in boxing, I think boxing will benefit from a one body that controls everything. So I can acknowledge, and a lot of boxing fans can acknowledge, that boxing really needs to change. However, I'm not sure that Dana White coming into boxing to implement a sort of boxing league with one belt is the solution. I am not sure. So I've seen different sides of the argument as I've been, reading and sort of seeing what people are saying. Some of the boxing fans are saying, absolutely, we're here for it. Bring it on. Let's see what Dana White can do, because we think he can change boxing. That's what some people are saying. Some people are saying, I'm not sure. This is not the UFC. This is boxing. Boxing is different. Dana White is not going to be a success. And then some of the boxing fans are in the middle saying, look, let's wait and see. He could change something. He could not. But it's only when he gets the opportunity to implement what they have in mind that we can judge. Now, myself, I am in the middle. Like, until something is done, I always prevent myself from saying that it's impossible, right? I always feel like everything is possible as long as you apply your mind to it. So for me, I'm in the middle. I'm not going to say that it can't happen, and I'm not going to say that, he's going to change boxing, because boxing is a unique sport on its own. Those 4 belts make boxing interesting. The issue is that those that control those belts are the main issue. It's not the belt itself. For example, the WBC refused to, enforce its mandatories. Deontay Wilder, for example, had the opportunity to mess about with the belt and didn't fight, tougher opponents, didn't fight his competitors, was just fighting, boxers that nobody wanted to see. And the WBC was not saying anything because Deontay Wilder was paying his sanctioning fees, right? So the issue isn't the belts. And people are talking about, oh, we need one belt. I think, having 3 to 4 belts as boxing has become is really exciting because we get to see more unification fights. We get to see, some other guys that may not be able to fight the top guys get the opportunity to fight for a belt, which is a lifelong dream for a lot of fighters. So these things we get to see as well, right? So for me, having too many belts in boxing is not the issue. Once again, the issue is the people that control the belts, the fighters that refuse to fight others because they have certain belts, right? So the fighters that are holding belts as hostages and not willing to fight each other, that's where the issue is. And that's why, again, the overall body that will look after boxing, if that is in place, would be the best thing to go. So I'm in the middle here. I'm not sure what Turki Alalshikh and Dana White have got in mind on how to implement this new league that they have ongoing. Because for me, boxing is unique. Boxing is not the UFC. Boxing cannot be made to be like the UFC. I don't want boxing to be like the UFC. I want boxing to be the way boxing is, but with better decisions around boxing. That's what I want, right? But if you look at it as well, this whole idea of Dana White coming into boxing, right? You had the likes of Francis Ngannou leaving the UFC to come to boxing because he wanted to make a lot of money. And, over the years, people have talked about the fact that, fighters in the UFC do not make a lot of money and Dana White is keeping their money and so forth. So how is Dana White then going to come to boxing with that reputation to get a lot of boxers or promoters to trust him with their boxers that they're going to get well paid if he's got that reputation in the UFC? And, Francis Ngannou came into boxing and made the most money that he's ever made in his career. So this is something that when you think about, I understand why people are saying this is not going to work because boxing is not like the UFC, right? You can't monopolize boxing. The belts, once again, I love them because it allow us to see different fighters from different backgrounds come together to fight and to fight for belts that if it is just one belt, some fighters may never win a belt in their lives. So that promotes boxing and it helps boxing grow, in my opinion. So look, this one I'm going to throw it to you guys. I am really interested to know what you guys think about this whole idea. Turki Alalshikh and Dana White coming together to create this boxing league. Get in the comment section. Let me know what you think about it. Are you on the side of, yes, this is great, we need one, belt in boxing where everyone's going to fight for? Or are you on the side of people saying, this is going to work, or this is not going to work? Or are you with me where I'm in the middle saying, I just want to see how this is implemented and how this is going to help boxing grow? Get in the comment section, guys. Let me know what you think about it because I think it's a really interesting talking point. As always, hit the like button, subscribe, and leave your comments in the section below. I'll see you on the next one.